It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. Today, we welcome one of the queens on the boxing circuit. As an amateur, she became the first British female world champion after securing gold at the 2012 World Championships. Nicknamed the Silent Assassin, she is ranked as the world's second best active female middleweight by BoxRec and the fifth best active super middleweight by The Ring magazine. She's won all 8 of her matches, including 6 by way of knockout, including this.
Marshall doing the right thing there, looking to body as well as to head. Just looks so loose in the shoulders and relaxed, and that's a terrific left to the body, and there is your statement from Savannah Marshall, timed to perfection, and Goranova's not getting up. That is sensational from Savannah Marshall, a durable opponent, and she takes care of her inside the opening round.
And Savannah joins this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN right now with your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. We bring you the biggest guests, great analysis, and the hottest sports stories in the nation's capital and beyond. And we bring it to you live. Welcome to this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream edition of Listen In with KNN. I always appreciate you all having me here on Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, our home station. I know I took a brief hiatus last week. I needed some rest, but now I'm amped up and ready to go. I'm so excited for today's show, joined by just 2 incredible females. And as we all know, females around the world, right? And women in sports are such a powerful thing. And you guys see my little referee behind me. I'm also excited that my Maryland Terps are kicking off college football today. So what a fabulous Saturday it is. And then, of course, tomorrow our Washington football team takes on those guys, those dreaded guys, those Dallas Cowboys. So nonetheless, let's get ready for today's show. Today I'll be welcoming in a former 2012 Olympian in Savannah, the Silent Assassin Marshall, and also sports agent Sonia Sophia Randev. We're going to talk latest and greatest in boxing. It's something I've missed. COVID kind of deprived me of it. I miss being at boxing bouts, but nonetheless, we're going to hopefully bring it into your homes with my special guest today. So first, I welcome on Savannah. Savannah, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm really good, thanks.
I love it. As you can see, Savannah's a British boxer, so I love her accent. I'm sorry you guys have to hear her voice, but Savannah's voice will soothe us as we get through the show. And also welcoming to the show, Sonia Randev. Sonia, how are you today?
I'm really good, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you both for joining. So first, to kick things off, I'd like to do a wellness check with my guests. So I know COVID-19 has put us just in a whirlwind of emotions, and we're getting used to this new normal here in the U.S., over in London, right? So I'll start with you, Savannah. How have you been able to kind of cope with this COVID-19 pandemic and keep your spirits up and hopes up as you get ready for a new bout coming up soon?
Yeah, it's just about adapting, isn't it? There's nothing you can really do apart from just get on with it. So I was due to fight last weekend, but the fight got postponed because my coach had tested positive for COVID. So I was negative, but because we were a part of the same team, and obviously because he was my coach, I couldn't fight basically. But anyways, fitting well, and he's tested negative a couple of days later, which is a bit weird. But yeah, I'm fighting next Saturday, a week today.
Yeah, we're so excited, which is why we're glad that you could join us here on the show, because we know you're a busy person. You have a lot of fans are already coming in, and the fans here, yes, love your accent. And Sonia, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Because I know as a sports agent, you're also an award-winning journalist. I mean, you've pretty much done everything. How have you been able to cope with this COVID-19?
God, you're showing my age now. You've made me feel old. God, I feel like I have done so much. Yeah, and also like working with Sav as well and the girls throughout lockdown, supporting them obviously with their media and stuff has obviously been quite cool for me. And I think it's actually been a blessing in disguise for all of us. Don't you think so, Sav?
Yeah, especially for female boxing.
100%. I just feel like that, you know, obviously it's been a difficult time for everybody. Everybody's been in the same situation, but I just feel like that in terms of, you know, the girls kind of getting themselves out there, it's given them an opportunity for not just boxing fans, but for sports fans to actually get to know who they are. So by the time their fights actually come around, so many people are going to be tuning in thinking, I know that girl, I heard her on the radio, or I saw her on TV, or I read her interview. So for me, it's a blessing to have worked with so many of them throughout this time.
I think that's so powerful. And since you guys touched on it, let's talk about women's boxing. I'm obviously a huge proponent of it. I love covering it. And we know we're trying to continue to grow the sport. And it's only right that you're on the show, Savannah, because we've had other female boxers on the show, such as somebody you probably know kind of well, and Clarissa Shields on this very show.
Oh, yeah. She been on, has she?
They're best mates, Kelsey. Did you not know? God, they text each other every day. So, yeah, it's just one of them ones, really.
I love it. And just going off of that, Savannah, I know you recently did an interview where you said, you know, I still know of men that won't watch women's boxing. So, Savannah, I want to pose that question to you. How do we grow the sport and specifically try to target men to support female boxing?
I think it's all about having the right support. So, for instance, I'm promoted by Eddie Hearn, and Eddie is a big fan of female boxing. So he's putting all female boxers on big cards. So it's a bit like Dana White. Mm-hmm. You know, he's proper pushed females in sport, and I think Eddie's following in suit, really.
Yeah, that's huge, and that's a big name, Eddie Hearn. Yeah, we know that name, and obviously that he's a big promoter and pusher of it. And Sonia, on your side as a sports agent, how are you helping to kind of push and make sure these wonderful female boxers are getting the top-notch opportunities to show their talents off to the world?
Do you know what it is? Obviously, I don't get involved with the whole kind of management side, the promotion side. Like Savannah just said, Eddie Hearn is probably, you know, one of the best out there at the moment. He's doing such a great job. In fact, he's doing an incredible job. I have to, you know, I'm going to give him a shout out because he's doing an amazing job with all the girls. But obviously at the beginning of this year, before COVID and lockdown and everything came into place, I was very much freelancing for a magazine called Boxing Monthly. So it enabled me, it gave me an opportunity to speak to girls like Sav and other female boxers. I got to interview them. Then obviously lockdown hit. And for years, I've always wanted to work with the girls, but there just wasn't any opportunities. They weren't fighting enough. You know, the fights weren't being made. There was a lot of, I felt, which I'm going to be completely honest about because I just say it exactly how it is. I felt like there was a lot of focus put on certain female boxers. Whereas in my own, you know, with my own opinion, it's nothing against those girls. I think it's great if everybody's been given a platform, but I think it has to be done fairly. Every single person should be given an opportunity. So with me, I just felt like there was a lot of emphasis, a lot of focus on certain female boxers within the UK. And all those other those female boxers, nobody knew nothing about them because they hadn't seen them fight. They weren't getting the opportunities. So as soon as lockdown kind of kicked in, I was very much like, I've interviewed all these girls for Boxing Monthly. I'm just going to book them in media and get them out there and get people to get to know who they are. And they've been fabulous. Like, people know who they are. Savannah's got like one of the biggest fights of her life next Saturday, to be perfectly honest with you, against another girl, Hannah Rankin. I'm looking forward to that fight. She actually called me a traitor last week, Sav, because I was with her opponent last week.
I was going to block her.
Can you believe that? Like, literally.
No, I'm joking.
But, you know, and I'm looking forward to that fight. And I'm looking forward to, you know, Hannah's kind of been on the world stage. She's had a couple of opportunities, but I'm looking forward to people actually seeing what Savannah Marshall is all about. And to me, out of all the, sorry, I know I'm going on a bit now. I said to Savannah earlier today, you're going to be doing all the talking. But for me, God, I knew this would happen. But for me, oh God, what was I saying? Sorry. For me, I just feel like that now finally everybody is going to see what a lot of these girls that weren't getting those opportunities because they're not ticket sellers, because they're not Instagram models. Sorry, I'm just saying it exactly how it is. Now everyone's going to see what real boxing talent is all about. That's all I'm saying.
No, I love that you said that, what real boxing is all about. I think it's females. It probably goes beyond boxing. They put us in these molds.
I'm probably going to get in trouble after I've said that because a lot of girls are going to be like, oh, I thought you were supposed to empower women. But, yeah.
It's nothing wrong with keeping it real. I think it's important. I think so often as women, as females, our bodies are quite frankly sexualized, right? And you sell sport, right? I mean, and it's sad that we're constantly fighting against that narrative. Like you said, see what real boxing is about. So we might as well talk about this upcoming fight. It's the talk of the town. I mean, everyone is so excited for this fight. Savannah Marshall, Hannah Rankin contesting for the vacant WBO Middleweight Title. So, of course, I mean, this is going to be on, first of all, Sky Sports and DAZN. Like, you guys are fighting on pretty much prime time, which we're all excited to see. So, Savannah, the fact that this fight got rescheduled so quickly after everything, I mean, how did that make you feel? Just knowing that, the fans are still not going to be deprived of this great fight that we have coming up.
Oh, I was overwhelmed. It was, to be honest, as soon as the first fight got cancelled, I'd said, can you try and get it on the October the 31st, the Halloween bill?
Yeah.
Because that was the next show. I didn't think it would actually happen, but like I said, Peter recovered and tested negative, so they got it straight on. But for me personally, I was more glad because all that hard work would have went to waste. I know people say, oh, just have a couple of weeks off, but then all that fitness, all that strength that you've built up through a 10-week camp, right? It goes. So really, I had a couple of days off and back in training, and now it's fight week on Monday.
Yeah, we're excited. We love fight week. And Savannah, I know you had been preparing to fight a bigger opponent for the world light heavyweight title back in April. Where the lockdown happened and you went up weight classes. So talk about your training, especially during a time like COVID-19. Like, how are you able to keep in shape and still be safe and, of course, get ready for this big upcoming fight?
Yeah, so I've lost about a stone and a half. Come down in weight, but like Sonia said, it's not just certain women, it's just women in general. I think in boxing, the opportunities aren't really there. So when I got asked to fight for the light heavyweight, even though it wasn't my natural weight class, I jumped at the chance. So obviously I was going up in weight, so that wasn't too bad. And then obviously that never happened. And then they offered me Hannah, which was 2 weight classes below. And like I said, I had a bit of weight to shift, but I'm dedicated and I'm quite strict on my diet. So I had no problem losing the weight, to be honest.
That's good. You say it's just so casual. See, anything is easy breezy for them.
No, what it was, I got rid of all the cakes and the crisps out the house. I had to like black bin everything. Just get it out the house.
Which is good because during COVID, I think a lot of us kind of went towards those sweets, especially. So the fact that you went the opposite way is just exciting to hear. And then to the fans out there, especially that are watching this show, other than the fact that we know, I mean, you guys are just 2 incredible female boxers, what would your pitch be for them to tune into this fight and support this fight and watch you all come Saturday, Halloween?
Is that for me or is that for Sav? Because I thought you called me a boxer then, and I thought, oh my God, like, am I?
I hope you can answer this question. I'll start with you, Savannah.
So I'll say me and Hannah are. So you have the likes of the superstars like Katie Taylor, but me and Hannah are the bigger girls. So we're a lot bigger than Katie. We carry a lot more power than the lighter girls. So it's something that really hasn't been seen on primetime telly. So it's a good opportunity to see the bigger girls go at it.
Yeah, it's exciting to see that. And Sonia, I have to come to you now because I know you're going to have a great answer for this question as well.
What, to sell this fight? I think this fight sells within itself.
Men, why should they tune into this bout that's coming up? We know they're great female boxers, but just why specifically would your pitch be for the fans that are out here listening to the show right now to why they need to tune into this fight on October 31st?
I think if you look back to obviously when sports started making a bit of a comeback and Eddie Hearn himself put on something that was called Fight Camp. And Sav knows a lot about this as well, because obviously we were quite excited to see, to be honest with you, I think everybody across the world was just excited to have some kind of sport back on their screens.
Yes.
So watching like Fight Camp in Eddie Hearn's like back garden, you know, it was absolutely phenomenal. And a lot of people got to see some of the girls that I actually have been going on about that are talented boxers that don't necessarily always get the opportunities. So many of those people that were tuning in have now seen what those girls are really made of. So I feel like that build up for Savannah against Hannah next Saturday is kind of already there, because those girls are kind of built a little bit of a platform now, and shown boxing fans that girls can fight. They're very talented. They're skillful. But if I was to sell this fight, mate, all you need to do is go on Twitter and see Hannah and Savannah going back against each other. They sold the fight within themselves. So when they step into the ring, everyone's going to see them back up their talk. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be an absolutely brilliant fight.
We are all so excited for it. As you guys know, this is a live show. So, Savannah, I do want to send a question from the fans in. They already want to know, even though we're preparing for the 31st, they're already asking you, Savannah, is there any fighter that you're looking forward to facing in the future?
Sonia Randev.
Well, you was in America yourself. You've got a couple of champions. Obviously, you've got Clarissa, and you've also got Franklin Cruz from Baltimore. So there's two there that I'd love to get in the ring with.
I love that. Oh, you already got us excited now. Now we're already just thinking about the future, but just staying on the present. I think something too that's been incredible about your story, I think COVID-19 obviously also hit us hard financially. And I think, you know, athletes, I don't think we thought about how it also hurt them and impacted them. And you had to get forced to just get a job, right, Savannah?
Yeah, well, I applied for a couple of jobs. I never got one. But yeah, I didn't want to be left in, you know, the what would you say? I didn't want to leave it to chance that my sponsors would dry up, or I'd lose out on another fight. Yeah. So yeah, I took up upon myself to apply for a couple of jobs. Like I said, nothing come about that. But yeah, it just goes to show you, especially in boxing, you only get paid when you fight. Mm-hmm. And I haven't boxed this year,
right?
So you know, there's only so much you can dip to go into your savings.
Yeah,
before it's all gone. Yeah.
It makes it so real for all of us. So I want to take you back to that moment, Savannah, when, you know, COVID-19 hit, where you are very hard. When you saw kind of the stoppage of sports, just give me, what was your first thought? Like, I mean, I'm sure you never in the world, like many of us, thought that could ever happen. But like, what was your first thought when you saw that sports had essentially been shut down?
Well, for me, it was 2 weeks before I was meant to fight that light heavyweight title. So I'd done all my training. I was ready to fight, and then it got pulled. And for me, I just thought, well, do you know what? Everyone's in the same boat. If it was just me, do you know, there'd be anger, tears, frustration, all the emotions had come. But because everyone was in the same boat, I just had to get on with it. And then obviously last week, I got right to fight camp a couple of days before the fight, and then obviously my coach tested positive. So for me, I was like, right, this is twice it's happened now. So even though this fight's, you know, set in stone, it's happening on October the 31st, a little bit of me still in the back of my mind thinks, you know, I won't believe this is happening until I actually hear that first bell ring. Right. I think, right, yeah, we're here, it's happening now. But,
you just never know.
Right? You don't.
That happens with COVID, right? There's just, we're seeing it here in our sports here in America too, right? I mean, games have been postponed and changed. We have Tuesday night football, and they've had to rechange the schedule. So it means everything with COVID. But of course, fingers crossed, Savannah, that we get you there Saturday.
Yes. Yes.
And then I think just to continue about your career, I mean, I'm taking you back to 2012. We're going back in time. You became the first ever British female to win the World Championship gold. I mean, what was that like for you? The first one. It had to be.
Well, it was actually on my 21st birthday.
So perfect time to do it.
Happy 21st, eh?
Yeah. when anyone will ever say, oh, what did you do for your 21st? I said, I became a world champion.
When most people would actually be turning around saying, oh, I had a glass of champagne or a glass of Prosecco to celebrate. This one's a world champion. I mean, you know, bloody hell. I might as well switch myself off from here now.
No, it was brilliant. I think I'd boxed something like 5 times in 7 days, and I'd like I said, I was still a baby, really. I was only 20, 21. And all the girls I'd boxed were former world champions, European champions. And every fight, I just kept surprising myself.
Yeah.
There was no, like, it was the kind of attitude of, well, I've got nothing to lose. That was the attitude that I went in there with. And the next thing I knew, I was world champion and I qualified for the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was my birthday.
That was huge. I mean, like, again, most of us, we could go back in time. That would be our 21st birthday.
Yeah.
We can pick and choose something that's so special. And then continuing to, going back in time, I mean, you made your professional debut back in August of 2017. So just describe how life has been in that crossover from being an amateur to professional. What was that like for you? I mean, getting physically ready, and then of course just being more on that kind of national stage.
Well, for me, I've been pro 3 years now, and for me, it's been very stop-start, and it's been through no fault of my own, really. I could say, like, I was with Mayweather Promotions in America. That didn't work out, so I'd come back to England. Then there was, the whole deal of getting out of contracts and things like that, and then switching promoters. Then obviously, like I said, COVID hit. There's just all been like little blips like that, but it's just one of them things. The way I look at it, I'm happy, I'm strong. I feel like I'm 29 now, and I'm actually, you could say I've grew into my body. I used to be that like dead skinny girl with no muscle definition or anything like that. So I feel like I've really settled into the pro game and the pro style. And I'm like I said, I'm happy and I'm really enjoying it.
That is so awesome to hear, because again, I think something that I've loved about you, Savannah, is that you're so open about your story, not afraid to share it. And I do want to touch on Floyd Mayweather because he is a favorite here in America. But I know before that, you had talked about previously in interviews that you had went kind of through a dark time between 2012 and 2016 after a controversial decision right at the Rio Olympics. So why is it so important to kind of share that story with the world? And if you can you shed light on that for us? Because I think many of us kind of go through difficult times like that, but you obviously have bounced back. But talk about that for me.
Yeah, so obviously going back to when becoming a world champion, that was in the May, and in that world champion tournament, everyone who had boxed had qualified for the Olympics, and because it was the first time female boxing was in the Olympics, I think there was only 12 females that were in the tournament, and I was the favourite. I was the number one. Out of them 12 females, I think I'd boxed 9 and beat 9. So that was in the May, going into the August for the Olympic Games. I ended up getting beaten my first fight. So that was, obviously going from here to there, just a total drop. And then I spent the next 4 years just on a roller coaster of, it'd feel like I'd get, I won the Commonwealth Games, and then the next tournament I'd get beat off someone who wasn't in my class. And then I'd get injured and have 6 months off. And then I'd win a tournament and then go back down. So it was just like that for 4 years. Anyway, I managed to qualify for Rio. I got beat again in the quarterfinals, so just missed out again. And I got to the point where I was hating boxing. I just wasn't happy. And I thought, I don't want to do another 4 years on the amateur scene. And I was ready to walk away. I was ready to just retire from boxing. And then I got an email from Mayweather Promotions saying they wanted to sign me, and I thought, oh, it's a sign. It's a sign. Yeah. So I just thought myself, I don't think boxing's finished with me yet. And like I said, I'm happy. I'm really happy. Even though it's not probably going my way, I just don't question it.
I love that. You take it each day at a time. And again, you are who you are, so that speaks volumes to many, because there's videos. Girls especially, and just young girls, young guys too, who are looking up in what you're doing. Your story speaks volumes. So I'm so excited to get you on the show. I do want to share more of your story, but you do have to tell us, what was it like that first time you met Floyd Mayweather? I know that people are going to ask me, they want to know, what was that interaction like?
Well, I remember there was a moment I remember. It was when him and Conor McGregor were going around the world and doing like presses to try and build their fight up. Can you remember? And they did one in London, I think. I can't remember. I think it might have been at the O2. Anyway,
they did do one in London at the O2,
Yeah. So he was in the changing room, And I remember walking in the change room, and he was like, there must have been 30 people there, but it was so quiet, you could have heard a pin drop. I don't know if anyone was allowed to speak, but he was getting his head shaved. So he was just sat there, and everyone was just sat round him in silence. It was a bit, I don't know, it was a bit surreal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
that is one moment that like sticks out in my mind.
I love that. You remember that moment so vividly. We had to ask about it. And going back to just your inspiration and just what you've done, what does it mean to you to kind of be a role model and an icon to so many, Savannah?
It's great. It is really rewarding. Like I still go back to my original boxing club, and I do little bits with the kids and things like that. And there's times when, especially like little kids, when they'd be sparring and they'd get upset, and I'd always go over and say, "Oh, don't worry, I used to get like that. I used to be 14, crying my eyes out because a boy was beating me up."
Oh my God.
So it's just like little things like that, because when I was 14, crying because I got beat up in sparring, I remember the older kids coming to me and saying, "Don't worry about it. You'll come back better. It's just a spar. You'll forget about it tomorrow." And it is true. It is true.
I love that. And then Sonia, going over to you, I know you've also just been open about what you've gone through as a female and a woman. So, I mean, what's it for you working with incredible people like Savannah, and also being willing and open to share your story as well with the world?
It's like what I said, obviously I'd always wanted an opportunity to work with the girls, but nothing was really happening, and it was only really happening with a couple of girls.
Right.
And then obviously when lockdown hit, I was like, right, I'm just going to go for it now. And I said to the girls, I'm just going to book you in media, get you out there. Yeah. The one thing I will say, and I love all the girls, I think they're all brilliant, they're all different and unique in their own way. But this one here, Savannah, she was someone that really didn't want to do any interviews. And it's quite a known fact. And I think initially people thought that was a bit egotistical, but it wasn't really. She just didn't want to do them. She just didn't feel comfortable doing them.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like out of all the girls that I've worked with, her progress in terms of interviews and media has been absolutely phenomenal. It makes me feel really happy to see that change. I'm not saying that obviously it's got anything to do with me, because ultimately at the end of the day, she's the one that has to do the interview and speak to that journalist. But I have had a lot of positive feedback from the media saying that she's been really good to interview. And this is a girl that didn't even want to speak to them. So,
Well, I'm on the show.
So there you go. Confidence builds, doesn't it? And I think a lot of these, I'm always there for advice and support for anyone, especially the girls, being a female myself. Yeah. So the advice I always give to them is that listen to what your manager says. I mean, I was saying it to another female boxer a couple of weeks ago. Your manager has your best interests at heart. It's the reason why they are your manager. They're in your corner.
Right.
Be careful, because the bigger you become, a lot of people are going to be whispering in your ear. And you're going to believe everything they say. They're going to say, we can make you so much money. You're going to walk away from this sport with so much money in your pocket. You're going to be so famous. You're never, ever, going to have to work again. It doesn't work like that all the time. Unfortunately, especially in boxing, it doesn't work out for people like that all the time. For the majority of boxers, actually. Talented boxers walk away from this sport with hardly any money. So my advice to the girls going forward, you girls are the ones, boxers in general, you are the ones that are actually spending 6 to 12 weeks away from your family and from your friends. You step into that ring, you go for a grueling fight. Whatever you do, when you leave this sport, leave a legacy, walk away financially secure, and just walk away happy and healthy. That's what I would tell my daughter if I had a daughter and she was a boxer. Yeah. I've got a few years on these girls. When Savannah said she's 29, that was like 10 years ago for me. So, I had to think back then. But I've had my own struggles as well. Within the sports industry, I've had people that have stabbed me in the back, when I've supported them and been loyal to them. But my kind of philosophy going forward is be reactive, not proactive. Sorry, no, I've said that wrong. It is be proactive, not reactive. Yeah, because I used to react to things before because it used to hurt me, So, and I think that was because I was young. I was younger then, and I used to take things to heart. But now I'm just like, you get on with what you need to get on with. I'll get on with what I need to get on with. And there's no need to have like any bad blood with people. If something hasn't worked out, it just hasn't worked out, and you just move on. So yeah, you've got to be thick-skinned to work in this industry. People need to understand that. There's no room for sensitivity. It's a business and you have to be focused. But just be careful. There's a lot of snakes out there. Sorry, I just say it as it is, you know. So
keep it rolling. You two are doing. I love it. I know I have to get you out of Savannah because I know you're preparing for your big fight. But before I let you go, Andy Burrows, and I'm going to put him up. He's actually in the UK. He's hilarious. He had a few E's on you this weekend.
I've just read it.
Andy, we can't do that on this show. You know that. I just thought I'd get you a last Savannah. But of course, as we prepare for this upcoming fight against Hannah Rankin, I mean, what would you say your advantages are for this fight? This is when you get to brag on yourself at Savannah.
Taking that away from Hannah. Hannah's a tough cookie. She's got plenty of heart. But I just believe that I'm a better boxer and a better fighter than Hannah. I'm expecting the best Hannah Rankin there is. I've trained for the best Hannah Rankin. So with that in the back of my mind, I believe it'll be a brilliant fight. But like I said, I don't just believe it. I know I am. I know I'm a better boxer and a better fighter than Hannah.
I love that. Well, we're looking forward to that. And one more fight we're hopefully going to look forward to. And I know that you've added this, or you tweeted this before, Savannah. You added, of course, the shields, and you said your time as a champion will end in 2020. See you soon. You think that might be something we still see in 2020?
I forgot I said that. I thought, when did you say that?
It from
Twitter. We're destined to meet. But as Sonia stated, it's a business. I got offered that Claressa Shields fight about 2 years ago, and I could have took it then. But for me, financially, wouldn't have been worth it at all. I probably, by the time I'd have paid my manager and my trainer, I'd have probably come away with nothing. Yeah. So, although it's a sport, it is a business, and that is a massive fight for me. Yeah. So, do you know, I'm not embarrassed or shying away from saying, once I step into the ring with Claressa Shields, I want to be in the best financial and place possible that I could be in.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Savannah, we are wishing
basically, it's going to be UK v America anyway. So, Kelsey, obviously coming from America, now that you've spoken to Savannah, I think you'll team Savannah when she eventually meets Shields, right? So, we've converted another fan all the way from America, Sav. Amazing.
Yeah, good.
I love that.
I know she's not going to agree to it. She's just smiling, but yeah. It's fine.
I absolutely love that. Look, I love the UK. Even though I'm in the US, we're in DC, I still have love for the UK. That one's going to be hard because I've had you both on the show. So I'm going to remain very neutral when that fight happens. But I actually thank you both for coming on the show. Savannah, any last words for the people watching and listening?
No, just thank you, everyone, for all the support. Obviously, thanks for having me on the show. Sonia, thanks for arranging it. But yeah.
I'm forgiven now.
Yeah.
I love it. Sonia, any words?
No.
Sorry, Sonia, I missed that.
Sonia's been, like I said, Sonia's helped me a lot through lockdown. Like I said, I missed out on a big fight in April, and do you know, Sonia was there. Do you want to do this interview? Do you want to tell people about your story? And although I wasn't fighting, it really got me out there.
Yeah. That's huge.
I think it's just important for these girls. They're all real. Tell people who you are. You know, don't be afraid of that. You've got a story, share it. Just be honest and true to yourself. And, you know, that's what this business is really all about. And those types of people are the ones that will succeed. It's as simple as that, really.
I love that. Be honest and true to yourself. No greater words spoken. Savannah Marshall, Sonia Randev. Thank you so much for joining me here on Listen In With KNN. Hope you both stay healthy, stay fit, and we're going to be watching on Saturday, Savannah. So best wishes to you.
Yeah,
thanks a lot, Kelsey.
Much. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, you guys just heard from Savannah Marshall, of course, a British boxer. Be sure to check out that fight on October 31st. It is going to be a good one. Let's be honest, on Halloween, it's not like you guys can do much anyways, right? Because we're in this COVID-19 pandemic. So why not watch some great female boxing? And please also check out my brand new shows for the Washington football team, The Fit and The Life. I was joined by Cameron Curl and Thomas Davis this week. And as always, we're back every Thursday at 6 p.m. and every Saturday at 2 p.m. for Listening with KNN live stream editions. And also, I am so excited on Monday. I'll be dropping a podcast version of the show with Special Olympics DC athlete Novi Craven. So check that out on Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, dropping at noon on Monday. So lots of great content coming out. To all my supporters, truly, truly, truly appreciate you. And to my wonderful team for helping me get the show done each and every week and just bearing with all of the craziness. Of course, COVID-19. I appreciate you all so, so much. Stay safe, enjoy college football, and of course, tomorrow, enjoy NFL football. And yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Follow Kelsey on social media at @TheRealKNelson. Catch episodes of Listen In with KNN on YouTube, on air at AM 1340 and 96.9 FM Fox Sports Radio, on Facebook and Twitter, and online at KelseyNicoleNelson.com. Thank you for watching this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN.
You used to hear me on your airwaves or hear me on my hit podcast, but now I'm taking you to the screen. You'll love Elevator Thoughts. We will talk the latest trending in sports. It's game time. What better way to get to know those that visit the show than over some good food and drink? It's time for confessions.